Let's be clear from the start. Kindness by itself is not enough to survive in this world. If you still think that being a good person is enough to be loved, respected, or even simply noticed, you're living in a fantasy. If it weren't fantasy, these women's comments wouldn't exist. And the worst part is that you know it, even though you refuse to accept it. Because if you don't admit it, you could be like this woman who had a stroke at 43 because she was too kind to others. How many times have you done the right thing? Been the bigger person? Given your time, your help, your warmth, only to be ignored, used, treated like a given? You were taught that being kind is the highest virtue. That if you keep giving, eventually people will see you, appreciate you, choose you. You are so good at reading their micro-expressions, and you're so shit at reading your own expressions. But the truth? The world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards those who know how to use kindness with power, with limits, with clarity. When I worked with men in therapy, one line came up again and again. Kindness without strength doesn't inspire admiration. It inspires pity. For men, weakness is punished. Pity causes disgust for the man. And this starts a downward spiral of events in life. But for women, social expectations are different. And what a downward spiral awaits kind women who don't know how to use that kindness. We'll talk about it a little later. It's not pity that hurts the most. It's invisibility and function status. The function of an employee, the function of a mother, the function of a cleaner, the function of a sex tool. Because when a woman is constantly kind, constantly giving, constantly available, and endlessly useful, she doesn't get thanked. She gets erased. She becomes not a woman, not a soul, not a being, a functia. Just something that exists to serve. No one thanks the hairdryer for drying their hair. No one is grateful to the washing machine. You just press the button, get what you want, and move on. And if it breaks, you throw it out, replace it. But here's what they forget. You're not a device. You're not a function. You are a woman, and you're not here to be used. You're here to be seen, to be chosen, to be loved, not for what you do, but for who you are when you do nothing at all. So ask yourself, how many times have you mistaken obedience for love? Service for safety? Sacrifice for worth? You're not too much. You're just surrounded by people who've grown addicted to what you give and never learned to see the woman behind it. But here's the question this video will answer, and you need to hear it. Why are some women loved unconditionally, while others are treated like convenient functions, unthanked, unloved, and easily replaced? We'll get to that. But first, you need to understand how you got here. You weren't born kind. You were trained, conditioned, programmed to survive in a system, not to live in a body. It started early. Be quiet. Be helpful. Be good. Don't take up space. Don't talk back. Don't ask for more. Smile when you're hurting. Help when you're empty. Say thank you when they take too much. And you learned because you had no choice. You weren't stupid. You were adapting. You became the version of yourself that created the least conflict, got the most approval, and kept things from exploding. It wasn't kindness. It was armor. And back then it worked. But now it's just residue, old code running on a new machine, and it's breaking you from the inside. You keep wondering why you feel unseen, why people walk all over you, why love always feels out of reach. Here's why. They don't love you. They love what you do, and you train them that way. You made yourself indispensable, useful, predictable, and now you're furious that no one sees the person behind the service. But be honest, when did you last show her? This pattern, it didn't come from nowhere. It came from people who didn't know better. Maybe your parents, maybe teachers, maybe religion. They weren't evil, just limited. They taught you what worked for them in the world they grew up in. But this world isn't theirs, and you're not 10. These days, it's trendy to talk about childhood trauma. And yes, it exists. Yes, it matters. But you're not a child anymore. If you weren't lucky enough to be born into a perfect family, that's already a fact. You can't change it now. Yes, you had to wear a mask to survive in that system. That's what they told you. And back then, you didn't have a fully developed body or brain. You adapted to the environment you lived in. You simply couldn't act any other way. You didn't have that capacity yet. But now you're an adult, so take off the mask, the one that keeps hurting you while making everyone else comfortable. You're not 10 years old. You're the one building the system around you now, not the one being bent by it. Yes, I know. It takes time. Time to become the woman who can take what she wants and say no to what she doesn't. That process, that transition, is the price you pay for all the damage you've absorbed in the past. You're grown, you're capable, and you're still operating like you need permission to exist. That's why you burn out. That's why you overgive. That's why you disappear in every relationship that asks for nothing and still takes everything. Carl Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This is not fate, it's programming, and you're running outdated software. So stop romanticizing your self-sacrifice. It's not noble, it's self-erasure. And if you don't change it, no one will stop you. They'll just keep taking, and you'll keep fading until there's nothing left but the echo of who you could have been. You don't have to change. No one's forcing you. You can keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Keep helping, keep smiling, keep saying yes, softening conflict, staying useful. And your life more or less will stay the same. Predictable, manageable, controlled. It's simple. You get what you tolerate. Chester L. Karras said this very clearly. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate for. Nobody is a born negotiator. You need to train for it. If not, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. A little love. Sometimes a lot of silence. Most times. And that quiet emptiness you've learned to live with. But if that mask you're wearing, the good one, the right one, is starting to choke you, if you're not getting even close to what you need, what you deserve, you can take it off. Just know this, when you do, things won't stay the same. Some people will adjust because they loved you, the whole you, even the inconvenient, opinionated boundaries setting you. But others won't. They'll leave or stay and resent you. They'll say you changed, that you became difficult. And in their version of the story, they'll be right. Because in their world, you were a tool, a reliable, sweet, emotionally available tool, like a hairdryer. It either works or it gets replaced. And when you stop working the way they like, you break their illusion. So they walk, and that's not cruelty, that's economy. When you are no longer a benefit, you become a burden. And it always works out better when you put yourself first. Even if we are talking about men, they really don't fall in love without pain. That's why exes always seem to want you when you move on or are over them. It's sad and hard to understand because your heart doesn't work that way. It's paradoxically, to give and to get real love, you need to produce pain for others. Maybe you've even faced the reality of being told you're the perfect girl, you're like an angel, and then you get dumped or replaced with a worse one. You can be the best and sweetest girl, but that's not what will keep him. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said no, clearly, calmly, without guilt, and felt a strange power in your chest? Have you ever held a boundary and walked away without explaining yourself? What did that moment feel like? If it felt good, that was the real you, the one buried under years of compromise and emotional acrobatics. Feel it again. Anchor to it. Finally learn that saying no doesn't make you mean. It makes you strong. You don't have to visit that version of yourself from time to time. You can live there, permanently. Kindness is not your weakness, but it's not your protection either. You were taught to be kind before you were taught to be strategic, taught to be soft, agreeable, understanding. Even when the world wasn't soft with you, you learned to make others comfortable. Even when it made you uncomfortable, you thought kindness would protect you. But what it really did was make you accessible, predictable, and easy to overlook. Here's the truth no one told you. Kindness without discernment is just emotional labor you give away for free. You don't need to stop being good. You need to stop being good to everyone. Not everyone deserves your softness. Not everyone earns your support. A woman who doesn't trust her no will always be used for her yes. You don't need to harden or become cruel. You need to upgrade your kindness from reflex to strategy. Because power for a woman rarely looks like dominance. It looks like boundaries. It looks like mystery. It looks like controlled access. It's not about being intimidating. It's about being unavailable to those who only take. Have you ever said no and felt that electric pulse of self-respect run through you? That was you, the real you, not the people pleaser, not the version you were trained to be, but the woman who knows what she wants and what she'll never tolerate again. That version of you isn't rude, she's rare. And here's the game changer. When you lead with grounded kindness, kindness that is filtered through self-worth, not guilt, the right people feel drawn to you, and the wrong ones quietly disappear. You stop being the caretaker of everyone's comfort. You start being the curator of your own energy. This is how you win, not by being nicer, by being clearer, by knowing your value, by protecting your peace, by making your presence a gift, not a guarantee. You're not here to be liked. Let's stop pretending. You don't need another quote about boundaries. You don't need to be told you're enough. You need to act like you are. Because the truth is, people treat you like a function because you let them. You trained them to. And before you say, "But I didn't mean to," that's not the point. You smiled when you should have walked away. You helped when no one even asked. You apologized for existing. And now you're surprised they don't respect you? It's not because you're too kind. It's because your kindness has no edge. So here are 5 real steps you can start implementing today. Not cute, not soft, just real. If you start implementing them, you can come back and write in the comments what happened. Step 1, stop smiling when you're uncomfortable. That smile you put on, it tells the world you're harmless, and the world has no mercy for harmless women. Train your face to reflect your truth. Smile when you mean it, not when you're scared. Don't avoid a conflict. When you avoid conflict, you don't know what to do when real conflict shows up. And like said Cheryl Richardson, the one who avoids the conflict to keep the peace starts a war inside himself. Think about it. It seems true to me. Step 2, say no without giving a damn explanation. If your no needs a 300-word excuse, it's not a no. It's a delayed collapse. Just one word no is a complete sentence. Step 3, pull back when you're not seen. If someone only notices you when you're useful, disappear. Let absence do the talking. You're not a vending machine. Stop showing up on demand. You don't want to be afraid of losing people. You want to be afraid of losing yourself. And if you think that people-pleasing means that you have a big heart, you are wrong. Step 4. Notice who leaves when you stop overgiving. The ones who vanish when you stop serving? They were never with you. They were with the version of you that served their needs. Good riddance. Step 5. Become the chooser, not the chosen. This is a change from saying, "Sorry I'm late," to "Thank you for waiting for me." The next step is to say it not because it's a new artificial script, but because you feel that way. That's who you are. Stop waiting to be accepted. Start choosing who's even allowed near your space, your energy, your life. However, this is a topic for another video. Which women get the right to choose, and which remain invisible, having ceased to be convenient. You're not here to be predictable. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be respected. And respect doesn't come from giving more. It comes from giving less to the wrong people. Do you remember the last time you said no and felt powerful instead of guilty? That was you, the real you, not the mask, not the function. Keep her alive. Build your life around that version. Women are taught to be agreeable, to be pleasing, to smooth the rough edges of the world with their silence. But when that silence costs you your sense of worth, it's no longer kindness. It's self-erasure. Dr. Carol Gilligan, psychologist and feminist theorist. If those words cut deep, it's because you recognize yourself in them. You've smiled through disrespect. You've said yes when everything inside you screamed no. You've been the good woman, and they still walked away. Or worse, they stayed, but never really saw you, and you're not alone in that. In the comments, share your story. Tell us, when were you too good, and it cost you? When did your softness become a target, not a treasure? And if you've managed to break free, to rewrite that script, tell us how you did it. Your voice might be the one another woman needs to hear tonight. This space isn't here to judge you. It's here to witness you. And remember this, your worth was never in how easy you were to love. It was in how true you were, even when the world didn't know what to do with that truth. See you in the next monologue. We will have 100 of them on the topics that are most relevant in the world of modern women. And this time, you won't apologize and be kind just because the system has taught you to.